Hello everyone, welcome to YK Reviews. This video is going to be my thoughts and my opinions of the Stranger Things Season 4 show. It's a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen the show, you have been warned. Definitely go check it out. Come back to the video, let me know what you thought. So as you see in the title, it is a spoiler review. So Stranger Things 4. Bit of backstory here. My wife introduced me to the Stranger Things and told me she watched this show on Netflix, so I should go check it out. So I watched season 1 and season 2, binge watched them, and I really liked the show. It was very, very good, very entertaining. And when season 3 came out, we watched it together, binge watched it. And now that season 4 came out, once again we watched the show, binge watched part 1, and then part 2 binge watched it. My wife did tell me about the runtime because the finale was 2.5 hours, so she was telling me how long a finale is for 2.5 hours. But honestly, the show itself, the Duffer Brothers have written this show so well, and this is what I'll be getting into with season 4, because for those of you that have seen season 1 to 3 and everything that's been going on, I really like how season 4 wrapped up everything, especially when it comes to the Upside Down and with Vecna too. So first of all, we'll start off with the first part of the season, because I'm not going to lie to you, the first couple of episodes, it took me a while to get into. I wasn't a fan of the storyline, especially with 11 and what she was going through, the whole high school bullying going on with them saying these really awful things to her, and having her blood boil and all that kind of stuff. Just it kind of was a step down from season 3, I'll be honest. All of that stuff going on, and having her eventually snap at the ice skating rink and smack the girl in the face with the ice skate, and then everyone making such a big deal out of it because she hit even Mike, her own boyfriend, is saying what a bad person she is for doing that. And well, for me, if my wife hit somebody after getting tormented and saying really awful things, I'll be honest, I would high five her for that, because she stood up for herself. She's some of the things crossed the line with the things that she was saying, especially about 11 and her dad and all that kind of stuff. So I would say good for Elle for doing that, but obviously I'm not condoning violence. But it wasn't what I wanted to see from Stranger Things when it comes to, especially because they needed that to have her get taken away for her to regain her powers. So I wasn't a huge fan of that part. And essentially with the season, it kind of split everybody up. There were so many subplots when you have 11 and her going to regain her powers. You've got Murray and Joyce going off to Alaska, going off to Russia to rescue Hopper as one plot. You have Mike, Will, Jonathan, Argyle, and shout out to Argyle too, because I really like that character, especially in the one scene with Murray and Argyle in the risotto and finding out that Jonathan is high, which I'll also get to in a couple of moments. I do like that scene. So but then you have that plot with them trying to go find 11, so that's 3 subplots, and then you have another subplot with Dustin, Lucas, Max, Steve, Nancy, Robin, and Eddie, all of that subplot as well. So you have 4 different storylines going on all at once. So it was it's a lot to take in there. But from subplot to subplot to subplot, I'll go with Joyce, Murray. As much as I enjoyed that subplot, I did feel a lot of it was kind of unnecessary to the main plot of the storyline. I liked how they were able to rescue Hopper, even though Hopper escaped and then got recaptured and all of that stuff. I enjoyed his connection with the guard that betrayed his country. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but I like the connection that they had, and then working together to defeat the Demogorgon I liked that connection, and I liked with Joyce and Murray going to find Hopper and all of that. But it felt like what they did, yeah, they rescued Hopper, but then eventually it didn't kind of play out. Like, I know that towards the end, them killing the Demogorgon, killing the smoke, and everything kind of like weakened Vecna in the Upside Down world. But I just felt like I wish they rescued him sooner so that they can go join the others earlier on in the season, so that could be played out more. But there wasn't much suspense because they aren't going to bring back Hopper just to kill him off again. Like, you just know that they weren't going to do that, so there wasn't much suspense because you knew Hopper was going to survive. But nonetheless, I do really enjoy the storyline they went to. From 11's storyline, the flashbacks of like how she was as a child growing up in the laboratory with Papa and with who we found out to be One, and like how he was trying to like manipulate her, what she had to go through, how like she would gain strength, how like the others were trying to bully her, and how she was gaining the strength to like be able to push back basically. Especially in one particular scene when Papa made everybody like stand in a circle one by one and try and like use their powers to push each other off the circle, and one guy, I forgot what number he was, but he managed to push everybody off the circle using his powers, but then 11 was able to push him off. And I liked that scene. I liked how they built that up, and I liked how it built up eventually to like trusting One and them escaping together, releasing that little chip or thing in his neck to like release his power, and then him kill everybody there. And then when she was like inside the little dome thingy with Papa, like in present day with Papa and with all the scientists and everything like that, working on how she was able to like regain. I like how it was like explained how she was able to regain her power, not something where it's like a snap of the finger and like she's magically got her powers back. I like how they showed the flashback scenes and then showed her in present day, and like it's similar to how she was able to gain the powers and use that strength to gain the powers. Only gripe I had was the whole military scenes, military coming to like chase her and like take down the laboratory because they think she's the cause of all these like deaths that's happening in the city, which I feel like, okay, well, you just didn't really put two and two together. Wasn't really much of an investigation. It's just point the finger and okay, we're gonna go hunt her down. So that is the only like gripe I have, although I do really like the helicopter scene of 11 taking down the helicopter in the finale. But I like that subplot. And then when it comes to the subplot with Mike, Will, Jonathan, Argyle, and as I mentioned before, I really enjoyed the character of Argyle. I thought he was hilarious. He was a breath of fresh air. And I feel like in terms of Jonathan, I'm not sure as to why for this season he just seems like a pothead. It kind of seems like they're trying to like push him and Nancy apart so that Nancy can go with Steve. So it just feels like he's just like a pothead now who doesn't know what he's doing in his life. So I thought that direction was weird, but it was pretty entertaining watching him and Argyle, and as I mentioned with that whole dinner scene and like Joyce not knowing what's going on, and it made for like entertaining content there. But when it comes to like Mike and Will, you can see something boiling up inside Will, and I think it is him trying, especially in that scene with the van, with the whole like posters of the Dungeons and Dragons that he's painted, kind of indicating that he's trying to come out to Mike. And I think that he's interested in Mike, but he knows that he can't get him. I think they're maybe hinting towards that, but it'll be interesting to see like the direction they're going with Mike and Will, and like the direction that Will's gonna have in season 5, because I'll get into like my theories and like what season 5 means, but I feel like Will is going to have a big part to play in that. And then the big subplot when it comes to everybody else, when it comes to Max, Lucas, and I liked the relationship between Max and Lucas. I feel like episode 4 was probably one of my favorite episodes, because it was the episode with Max when Vecna took over her, and she was in the upside down world, and like playing that song which has become such a hit now, and like her escaping. Like that episode 4 was probably one of my favorite episodes of season 4. Like that episode was definitely like up there, top notch quality. And I liked Eddie as well, and like you knew every season they have this fun, lovable character that will probably die off in the end, and you could tell that with Eddie. Eddie was a great character, great addition to the show, and he really brought like a new dynamic to the group. And I was gutted that he died at the end of like the season, even though you knew it was coming. But like what really like was such gut-wrenching and heartbreaking was everybody blaming Eddie for the deaths, blaming the death for Chrissy, the nerd that was with Nancy. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. So like them blaming the deaths on Eddie, and then when he died, the scene between Dustin and Eddie's uncle was so heartbreaking to watch and so gut-wrenching, because everybody still thinks that Eddie murdered these people, and I really hope like he gets the redemption in season 5, even if he doesn't show up. At least like his name gets cleared, like Eddie. And because you can tell with Dustin, he looks at like these people like Steve and Eddie, as he gets really attached to them, and I like Dustin's relationship with them. And so you have like them trying to work out with what Vecna's weakness is, how to stop Vecna, and even it had a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street vibes to it this whole season. And what the best part is Nancy and Robin going to visit like this asylum, and the person who played Freddy Krueger in those movies, Robert Englund, in appearing and like with his eyes crossed out and everything like that, singing the song, and like them working out like that's how to stop Vecna. I really like that touch of having him appear in the show. Like that really made me smile. And the whole like plots with trying to like stop Vecna and trying to like kill Vecna, because you could see at the end, I don't think Vecna's dead. He's definitely not dead. He's definitely survived. But I really like how they go into the upside down. Like I really love Steve and Nancy, and the one thing that's worrying me is in the finale when Steve was telling Nancy about having 6 kids and wanting the mother of his kids to be Nancy. I was so scared they were going to kill off Steve, because Steve and Dustin are my 2 favorite characters, and I have a feeling they're going to kill off Steve next season, because him saying that he wants those 6 kids, him telling this future to Nancy, something in my heart is telling me they're going to kill off Steve next season, and I really hope I'm wrong about that. But I like Steve's arc from season 1 to season 4. I like his whole arc and how he redeemed himself, how he became a better person, and it does like feel like Steve and Nancy are going to try to maybe like become a couple again. And with Dustin, Dustin's relationship with Eddie, Dustin's relationship with Steve, and them working together to try and like stop Vecna, working out how to like because there's such a great dynamic, all of them together, and that's what I enjoy most, is when they're all together. Because for example, when like Robin and Steve and Nancy were in the upside down world, and they used Eddie too, and they used the lights to communicate with like Lucas and Dustin and Lucas's sister, using those lights to like communicate with them. I like that. I like how they like work together for that, and it hurts the show, I feel like, when they're split up and it's all different subplots and everything like that. But when it comes to like Lucas and Max, like Max opening up after like her brother's death, and like Vecna using that against her to try and get to her, and like her opening up to like Lucas, I felt like was such a nice moment. And Lucas's growth in the show, because like in the beginning of the season he's like a basketball player and he wants to be with the cool kids, wanting to like lean away from the Hellfire Club, Dustin and Max and all of them, to be with these cool kids, to like in the finale him fighting that bully, which I found very strange. Like that bully, I honestly forgot his name as well, but the scene with the police talking to the town, and then they just let this high school guy just basically incite a riot, having everybody try and like look for these kids, and them just standing there and just letting him speak, like I found very odd. I feel like even his death at the end, when he just laid down and they just split his body open, I just kind of felt like he kind of deserved more. Like I feel like he deserved more punishment or something worse than just having his just body split open like that. Like it was just so quick, so I feel like he deserved more, especially for the whole season, him chasing Eddie, him like attacking like these kids. Like I get where he's coming from when it comes to like being heartbroken that the love of his life has died, but his actions and everything, it just kind of felt like he was getting away with anything basically. And then so for him to die at the end the way he did, just kind of felt like, okay, well I feel like he should have got more, like it deserved more basically. But I like the fight scene, like in the finale when it comes to everybody like felt like they were losing, because you have once Max reunites with 11, and then 11 entering the mind of where Max and Vecna are, and like Vecna getting the better of Max, getting the better of 11. You have Steve, Nancy and Robin being strangled in the house in the upside down world. You have Eddie getting attacked by bats. You have Lucas like losing the fight to this high school guy, and you felt like, and Hopper getting attacked by the Demogorgon. Like you felt like everybody's like losing until like eventually they all like at the same. I really like that scene where they're all able to like overcome the odds and like beat Vecna and like feel like they've defeated him, because again, like I don't feel like he's dead, but them defeating them, I feel like the finale was very nice and was very like well paced, and everything paid off. But I feel like I just wish that they were all like together sooner than like at the end, because I felt like that was very quick. On a side note too, I forgot to mention like Papa's death. I feel like he is definitely dead this time, but I feel like him trying to vindicate himself and like 11, I'm glad like 11 didn't forgive him and him become like a good character or a good guy at the end on his deathbed. I'm glad they kept it, because there's no coming back from what he did, and like the things that he did, there's no coming back from that. So I'm glad like they kept it where he's still like a villain and 11 didn't forgive him, but I do think he is dead. So I feel like when Vecna disappears, and like with Max too, I also feel like they were building up for her to survive, but they kind of like killed her but then brought her back, and kind of like, I don't know, that for me I kind of was disappointing for me, because like the bones cracking and then the eyes disappearing, but then for 11 to like bring her heart back to life, like pump the heart, beat the heart, but then like they kind of copped out of that, and like looks like she's just in the hospital bed. You don't know if she's like gonna make it and stuff like that. So I kind of felt like, because earlier in the season you thought like she was gonna die, and then here, like, don't get me wrong, the scene with Lucas and Max, like the emotion from Lucas was amazing. Like his acting was so on point in that particular scene, but I wish they kind of left it unanswered. Like we don't know if she survived or not, kind of thing. Maybe I feel like that would have been maybe slightly better. I know a lot of people would be angry like not knowing if she's dead or alive, but I feel like it would have been better than like having 11 like bring her back temporarily, or like have her dead for a minute and then having her come back, but she's like basically in a coma. But it definitely, like, now that like the rifts have been like opened up and like the earth is like split and everything, I feel like season 5 is definitely going to be a really, really great season. I definitely feel like will have something to play, will have a part to play in it, as I feel like he's going to have so much frustration built up. Vecna's going to need a body, or Vecna's going to like manipulate Will, because I like how they tied everything back. Like Vecna, or one, was the person who created the Mind Flayer, was like, he took the upside down world and twisted it and like made it his own, and that's all the villains from the previous season all came down to Vecna, or number one. It was all down to him, which I really liked how they tied that up. And I definitely think that they're going to use Will. He's going to use, like, Will's going to have some part to play when it comes to season 5, and like with the upside down world and with Vecna, even with him being back and he's saying that he feels something, he still feels his presence. I feel like Will is either going to turn or something's going to happen. I just have a feeling, and I also feel like they have so many characters now that they do need to start like cutting the tree a bit when it comes to all these characters, because you have so many now. And I'm hoping, like, with season 5 the characters are more spending time together rather than them being split up again. Like, I want them to have more interactions with each other, because that's what makes the show so great, not every single person having a subplot, a different like storyline going on. So I'm really excited for season 5. And I also read that the Duffer Brothers, the writers of Stranger Things, are also going to be making a Netflix adaptation of Death Note, which is one of my favorite animes of all time. So I'm so excited for that, and I'll definitely most likely do a review of the Death Note animated series, not the actual movie, because the movie was kind of like disappointing for me. But I probably will be doing in the future a anime review of Death Note. So I'm excited because the writers of Stranger Things are doing that. But in terms of Stranger Things season 4, it is probably one of my favorite seasons. Like, season 1 and season 4 probably like neck and neck when it comes to like the show in itself, and I am thoroughly happy with the direction that they're going for. So I cannot wait to see what they do next with Stranger Things season 5. But yeah, this is my take, this was my thoughts. Please let me know what you thought about season 4 in general, what you thought about like each episode, or what you thought about everything from season 1 to season 4 in general. Please let me know, comment down below. Also, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't, to get more reviews, get more like videos like this. But I'll catch you in the next one. This is YK Reviews. Peace.